fractions. And thus far, we've done many problems that are very similar to this right here. 2/3 divided by 3/5, right? And one of the things that we've figured out here is that when we're dividing this, we need to look at the second number here, and we need to do the following, which is that we need to, the first option is to flip the second number, fraction I should say, multiply by the first fraction. Remember that first fraction, we're really trying to find what's called the reciprocal. Reciprocal, okay? If I find the reciprocal, which means that we're taking this 3/5 and it becomes here, move this over, it becomes 5/3. I can multiply that by my first number, which is 2/3, and here I would have 10/9 because 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 3 is 9, and I have 10/9. 10/9, again, I could take out 9 of these here and find 1 and 1/9 as well. That would be my mixed number to go with it. If I looked at this down here, same idea, this 4/8 divided by 3. Same thing here, I know that this 3 is 3/1. I know I'm looking at it here, it doesn't look like something that I can do any division with, so I'm going to then take my 3/1 and take it here, that's going to become 1/3. We'll be multiplying that by 4/8, again, because my first fraction stays the same, and here I have 4/24. And I know that I can simplify this because I can divide both by 4. If I divide this by 4, I get 1. If I divide this by 4, I get 6. So it's 1/6. Awesome. Really, really great so far. But it gets a little bit funkier when you get over here. So I want to take a look at this here. 10/15 and divided by 5/3. And one of the things that you'll find here that is an option for you is I can look at this 10 and 5 and go, you know what? I could divide those two numbers, and I could take this 15 and this 3, and I could divide both those numbers too. I know 15 divided by 3 is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And unlike my first two examples, what I have in my first two examples here, I have 2 can't be divided by 3. It ends up being like 2/3, right? 0.66. And 3 divided by 5 is again, it's not going to give me a whole number. Similarly, same thing, 4 divided by 3 or 8. 8 divided by 1 is fine, but I can't divide 4 divided by 3. So here, if I have both of these numbers here, these two numbers, and this here, and they are divisible, this number going across is divisible, and this here can be divided go into 15, then I can just simply divide. I have 10 divided by 5 over 15 divided by 3. And in this case, I'd have 2/5, right? So that is an option for me. Let's take a look at number 3, and I want you to pause the video if you need to in order to kind of figure out what you might decide to do. In this first example, I have 4/9 and I'm dividing it by 2/5. If I look at my two things, do you think I should decide to go with my first idea, which is going with the flipping and doing the reciprocal? Or do you think that I need to come down here and just divide across? What do you think? If you said that you need to use the reciprocal, you'd be right. Because if I look here at this 4, 4, and 2, that's divisible, but the 9 and 5 is not something that divides evenly. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2/5. It's going to become 5/2. And I'm going to look here at my 4/9. Go, yep, I'm going to multiply by my 4/9. So I'm going to have 20/18. And 20/18 in this case, I can simplify it and go, hey, that's 1. I can take 18 out of there, I got 2/18, or 1 and 1/9, because 2/18 is equal to 1/9. If I look at this next example, this one here that is 6/10 and 3/5, I'm again going to look across my fractions. 6 and 3, yeah, I can divide that. That would work. And then I can do 10 and 5. I can divide that. So here, I'm just going to divide across. 6 divided by 3, 10 divided by 5. Here, 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2, and 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2. And in this case, 2/2 is 1 whole. 2/2 is equal to 1 whole, okay? So here, if I had 6/10 and divided it into 3/5, or divided how many 3/5 fit in there, 1 whole would fit in there, which does make a lot of sense if you think about this. If I multiplied both by 2, if I did 3/5, I'd have 1/2. Let's see here if we have our fraction we got. Here, let's go with, so it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if I went here and just went with this, and I went with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, too far. Undo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? And I look at how many of these pieces fit in there. Right? How many 3/5 pieces fit in there? 2, 4, 6, 5, 3, over here. I'm a little bit off on my drawing, but I would be able to fit two of these halves into there. Again, thinking about this here, this is equal. Well, I'd have half of it that I could fit in and another half that I could fit in. So I'd have one whole piece that I'd be able to fit in because this here is equal to it. So 3/5 and 6/10 are equivalent there. The last thing to kind of keep in mind as you go today is you might see some problems that look like this here: 4 3/4 divided by 1 1/5. One of the most important things here is that you're going to need to convert these numbers, these mixed numbers, into improper fractions. Again, my 4 3/4, I look at that here, I go 4 times 4, that equals 16. So 16/4 would be 4 wholes plus my 3. So I got to multiply and then I got to add. So here, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have 19/4. And I've got 1 1/5. So my 1 1/5, if I go 5 times 1, multiply that here, I've got 5 plus 1 more equals 6, right? So now I've got 6/5, which makes a lot of sense. So if I'm multiplying these, so if I'm dividing these here, 6/5, right? Here, I'm going to decide again, it's 19 divided by 6, I can't do it. 4 divided by 5, I can't do it. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to flip it over, so now it becomes 5/6, and I'm multiplying that by 19/4. And I could go through and finish and find out exactly how much 19/5 would be. I know 4/6 is going to be 24. As I go here, 20 times 5 would be 100 minus 5. It's going to be 95. So I have 95/24. And I could, again, simplify that. So as you're working today, a couple things to be thinking about. One, do I need to do my multiplying by the reciprocal? I totally can. It will still work for me, get me to one whole. Again, keep in mind over here, if I just divide across, if I instead want to go 6/10 times 5/3, I'm now multiplying by the reciprocal. I've got 30/30ths. And keep in mind 30/30ths is the same as 2/2, which is equal to 1 whole. So both would get me there. Just need to determine which of the two strategies I need to use based on the fractions that are available. Good luck today as you work.